To keep it real, my hair is a hot mess right now, but I'm here with the lock update nonetheless. Hey y'all, welcome back to another video. So it's been a while since I have done like a real lock update where I ask you guys to ask me questions if you have any, and then I answer them. Over the past couple of months, I have been doing little small updates where I kind of update y'all on a specific thing here and there rather than answering any of y'all's questions. So today I'm going to try to get through as many questions as I can because I wanted to bring the focus of the lock updates back to y'all a little bit, because I feel like it's just been me kind of explaining a lot of stuff that's been going on, like with no context. So hopefully y'all enjoyed today's video. Before we get started, be sure to like this video. Go ahead and give it a like because that helps me out a lot. Make sure that you're subscribed to my channel. I do have a goal. I want to get to 20K. I feel like we can do it. We're really close. Share this video with anybody that you think might get some kind of help from it or might be entertained by it in any kind of way. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram at TyKara.Ann. I'll have all of my links to all of my socials down below in the description box. So now that we got all that out the way, let's go ahead and get into the questions. Firstly, I just want to address why I say that my hair is a hot mess. The reason why I say that my hair is a hot mess is because I have a whole bunch of marrying going on towards the crown of my head because I'm still working on retightening, as you can see right here. It's not really bad though. It's not as bad as y'all saw a couple of weeks ago with my veiled retie. With these locks, I can clearly see like where I can just easily pop them. That is one reason why I say my hair is a hot mess. Another reason why is because I have been experiencing so much lint lately. It's been ridiculous. It's been an extraordinary amount of lint. I don't even know if y'all can tell, but there's lint everywhere and I'm constantly finding myself trying to pick it out. And there are some places where I can't even pick it out, like right here in the front. It's so engraved into my lock and it's in the front. So you can clearly see. I don't know if the camera will pick it up, but it's there and I can clearly see it. So I have been fighting lint over the past few months, and I have also been fighting just the strength and the encouragement to go ahead and retie my whole head. So that's been kind of like where I'm at right now. If you're not really caught up with all of my other lock updates, I will have my Microlocs playlist linked in the corner of the screen and the iCards. It's also always down below in the description box if you ever find yourself like wanting to catch up or rewatch any of my previous Microloc videos. But let's go ahead and get into the questions. Like I said before, while I'm pulling up the questions, I did want to say that I have been trying to take some of y'all's advice as far as like not over manipulating my hair, not over styling it. So I have been going like a couple of days in between braid outs instead of just braiding my hair every single day like I normally do. This past like 2 weeks or so, I have been doing it like every other day. So right now what you see is my hair not really styled. I braided my hair the other day, and last night I didn't do anything to it but spray it with some oil and with my water mixture, and I just put it in a bun. So that's why my hair has no kind of wave or texture into it. It's just like locks. Okay, so the first question is by Jada Charles, and she asked a couple of questions, but the first one is, do you feel like your dating pool has become smaller with locks? Okay, I want to say this. I don't know if I would say that my dating pool has become smaller because of my locks, but the quality of men has definitely changed since starting my locks. And I swear, I've said this from the beginning, since I even started my lock journey, that the type of guys that I attract now is different slightly from the ones that I attracted before, whenever I just had like my loose fro or whenever I would wear like box braids or anything like that. Locks definitely do attract like a different sector of the men out there, but it's a good sector in my opinion. So I don't really mind it. So to answer your question, I do not feel like my dating pool is smaller, but the quality of men definitely did change. I feel like now I get more guys that appreciate natural beauty, the Erykah Badu, Nas, the poets, and the Tupac kind of gangsters, like the ones that are really intellectual. Who else? What's another artist that I can think of? Common, that's a good one. The type of dudes that listen to Common are the type of dudes that like I attract now, like more of them, if that makes any sense. I feel like I lingered on that question for way too long, but I'm gonna go ahead and move on now. Is there anything you do differently if you could start again? I feel like I need to make a whole video on this, so I'm not going to answer this question. There are some things that I feel like I could have done differently, and there are mistakes that I feel like I shouldn't have made. So I might have to do a whole nother video on that question, but that was really good. I like that. I'm going to go ahead and screenshot it so that I can remember. She also says, how long do you plan on growing your locks? Honestly, for as long as I can. I don't really plan on going back to loose natural hair unless I absolutely had to for some reason. Ava Ness says, would you have done your locks as small if you had to do all the installing and maintenance on your own? Absolutely not. I wouldn't have. I don't regret the size of my locks, but if I had to do this all by myself, especially the installing by myself, I don't know if I would have done it. If y'all don't know, I actually wanted traditional locks. I would have definitely installed those by myself if I could. Theola Reeks asks, what's my favorite hairstyle? So I actually have a video up. I posted it recently about my favorite summer hairstyle. It's actually my favorite hairstyle period all year round. So I will have that video linked up in the cards over here so that you can watch it. She also asked, what are the best hairstyles for different activities like swimming, running, etc. So for working out, I would say it depends on what stage you're in your lock journey. To be honest with me, at this stage in my lock journey, whenever I work out, I just wear my hair pulled back into like a bun or a ponytail. I don't really think about it. And if I go swimming, I just go like this. I don't like try to style it in any intricate way. But if you are going to go work out or swimming or whatever, any kind of active activity, and you just started your locks off so they're still pretty soft and, you know, more susceptible to unraveling, I would recommend just braiding your hair or twisting your hair up and then maybe pulling it back into a ponytail or a bun. But if it's too short to do that, maybe do twists, because mini twists will always be a look. Like no matter what the length of your hair is, mini twist, you can't go wrong with that, and you'll have a really bomb mini twist out after you're done. She also asked, do you want to dye your hair? Yes, I do, but the fire in my heart to dye my hair has kind of died down a little bit, just because I don't want to risk any kind of interruption within my lock journey right now, because my locks are not fully formed yet. So I kind of want to give it a shot and give it a chance to just fully mature first before I dye it. Honestly, I knew that I should have dyed my hair before I started my locks. I knew it, but I didn't do it, and I should have. So if you haven't started your locks yet and you know that you want to dye your hair, I would go ahead and do it before you start your locks. Ciola also asks, what is my favorite part about my locks? Honestly, my favorite thing is the fact that it's all my hair and I don't have to worry about any kind of outside sources when it comes to trying to look and feel beautiful. That's my favorite part about it, just the fact that it's mine and that my lock journey is just so unique to me. 9 Ether Queen 08, I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name, but she asks, do you have any tips on how to stop the locks from getting married? The only tip that I would have for you, well actually I have 2 tips. The first tip would be to keep up with your retightening schedule, and this is so important for so many reasons. You don't want to end up like me. The video will be in the corner up here of my disaster. I feel like keeping up with your retightening schedule not only helps maintain the integrity of your lock as far as keeping it even, but it also prevents like your hair from getting so long that it marries together so well that you can't even, or you feel like you can't even undo it. I have this much new growth, y'all. This much. Another tip that I have for y'all is to make sure that you are popping your locks, as they say, after you wash your hair. So after every single wash, just go in and individually make sure that your locks are separated, and you just do that by pretty much like running your fingers through your scalp from root to tip. Jaleesa Johnson says, I'm considering on getting locks soon. I want to keep my ends loose like yours because I love the look. Do you find that keeping your lock ends loose causes matting or tangles? And do you plan on keeping them loose? So this is not on purpose. I'm not trying to keep my hair loose. It just kind of is. As far as tangles go, I feel like I would say that having really soft loose ends can cause a lot of tangling. I have experienced that myself. That's why I try to go in and unravel it, because I have a tangle right now. this happens all the time for me. So you would have to go in and detangle your hair at the end if you plan on keeping your locks loose at the end. JT asks, are your locks getting heavy? No, they're not. Honestly, they're just as light as whenever I started. If it is heavier, I really don't notice a difference from day one to now. Overall, it's really fluffy and light. She also says, would you consider cutting them if the weight became too much? Yeah, I would. I actually have a limit to how long I will let my locks grow anyway, so I don't think that I'll ever have that problem. Shades of Sage asked, how did you decide what lock size you wanted? So as I said before, I really wanted traditional size locks, but kind of on the smaller end. As far as choosing my lock size, that was really all my mom, because she installed my locks herself, and she convinced me that having smaller micro locks would look better in her opinion, and that she just felt like I would end up liking it more in the end. So I didn't really choose my lock size like by using any kind of tool or anything like that. So as far as choosing my lock size, it wasn't super calculated. I feel like we mostly just went along with the grid, and however many locks one section would allow, that's how many she did. I do know that there are some videos on YouTube that do help out a lot with choosing your lock size and like making tools and stuff to make sure that your locks are all the same size. That just was not the case for me. My locks are roughly the same size. Some of them are a little bit bigger, some of them are smaller. So it wasn't really a calculated thing for me. So I can't really answer this question that well. Deborah Phillips asked quite a few questions. She says, would you ever color your locks? Yes, I would, just not right now. Would you try the hair wax or actually using hair dye? I don't think that I would choose the hair wax, to be honest. That just sounds like a build-up disaster waiting to happen. So I wouldn't go for the hair wax. I would most likely just go with the regular hair dye. Would you ever consider trimming your locks into a particular style? Yes. So whenever my locks get a little bit longer and they completely hang and they're not as fluffy, I do plan on getting the style of like, let me see, I don't know how to even explain this, but you know how it's like shorter in the front and then it just gets longer, so like in layers with like the back being the longest. That's what I would do. But when my hair gets long enough, I'll do that. Have you ever measured the size of your parting? No, I have not. Do you know what size parting you have? It's like roughly like 1/4 to 1/6 of an inch, I feel like. I'm not really sure though, honestly. Do you prefer your loose ends, or would you want them to lock up eventually? It doesn't really bother me. My ends could stay like this or not. It's not such a big issue for me where I'm just like, I cannot wait until my locks lock up at the end, because I don't like it like this. So if my hair stayed like this and my locks didn't really fully form at the end, I would be fine. I mean, it's not that big of a deal to me. Elena HC, I believe is how you say your name. She says, do you think it's better in the long run to have a simple lock routine, or should you do whatever you think is best for your hair? I do feel like it's always going to be better to do what you think is best for your hair. I remember a point in time where I just was not conditioning my locks, period, because with doing my research with other YouTube videos and stuff, I saw that a lot of people were not conditioning their locks because they felt like it was counterintuitive to condition and add moisture whenever you want your locks to dry out so that it can form the lock, I guess. I shouldn't have done that, honestly. So with this question, I feel like it's both. I think that you should always have a simple lock routine, but also make sure that you're doing what's best for your hair. So I can't really answer this one as a one or the other. I feel like both should be combined. I do feel like less is more. For example, I know that a lot of people say don't condition your locks, but if you feel like you need to condition your locks or else your locks will break off because they're so dry, go ahead and do what's best for your hair. But just make sure that you wash it all the way out. I find that that is a really big debate in the lock community, whether or not you should condition or not. So I would just say do whatever's best for your hair always, but at the same time you do kind of want to keep it simple. She also said, since the beginning I've been using conditioners because I have color treated hair to help hold extra moisture. Yeah, again, I didn't even read all of this after I answered the first question, but I feel like just do what's best for your hair, because if you have color treated hair, I know that it can be a lot drier and you just don't want your locks to break off all in the name of not conditioning. So go ahead and do what's best for you. Shauna L says, how do you take care of your locks and what is your daily routine for them? I am going to do a video on this, Shauna, or Shayna. I just screenshotted it so that I can remember. I'm going to film a separate video for that everyday routine because I feel like that might be a little bit more helpful than just me explaining it right now. Sherman Wade says, how long before you stop braiding your hair on wash day? I think that I waited about 6 months. Again, do what's best for your hair, whatever you think. I think I waited 6 months before I stopped banding, but I was still braiding for a little bit after that. But I would say definitely after 1 year, I stopped braiding all the time. Sometimes I do it now, but I don't do it every single time. It just depends on how I'm feeling. Rosalina Roro says, do you get discriminated against because you have locks now? I don't think so. I haven't noticed anything abnormal. I haven't been discriminated against because I have locks, at least not to my knowledge. Moving on to the Instagram questions, I'm only going to answer a couple because a lot of them were really repetitive. One of them is from My Lockumentary. She says, are your locks naturally jet black? I love it. Yes, it is. I have never dyed my hair or anything. It's always been black. And it's funny because I get a lot of compliments on that, but I want to dye my hair brown. How often did you wash your hair when you were in the early stages? I believe I washed my hair like once a week whenever I first started my locks. And the last question that I'm going to answer today is, how do you deal with unraveling ends? I mostly just went in and braided the end, because whenever I would go in and retwist the ends, it would always just come undone again. But the braids are solid. But the only thing is the braids are like a different texture than the twist. And I can still tell almost 3 years in the ones that I braided at the end because it unraveled. So if you don't think that that will bother you, I do think that braids will definitely stop the problem because the braids have not gone anywhere. Alright y'all, so that's all for today's video. I hope that y'all enjoyed. If you have any more questions, don't forget to leave them in the comments down below. Maybe I'll get to it. I'll talk to y'all in my next video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm out.
If you're doing what everyone else is doing, you're doing it wrong.
One of the best to ever do it.